There is no shortage of passion coming out of this referendum, or disagreements for that matter, and there's very little consensus on who thinks what. Although one thing is clear, as the headlines in the press show, each is accusing the other of scaremongering. And they've even assigned each other the same nickname.
Going on by Project Fear, who want...
They never see it because it's Project Fear.
The University of Portsmouth Business School hosted a debate on the European Union, and I caught up with its two special guests before the event. Comedian and campaigner for the Stand Up for Europe movement, Eddie Izzard, was joined by Enrico Tortolano, who is campaign director for the Trade Unionists against the EU.
There's a split in the trade union movement. Some are for Remain, some for exiting. We think it's a no-brainer. The European Union does working people no favours at all. There's more than 23 million people unemployed in the European Union at the moment, and that's unacceptable. Enshrined in their treaties and articles and economic constitution are things like the Growth and Stability Pact, which prohibits countries actually growing their way out of a recession. There's limits on public spending that we can do on schools and hospitals, etc. So we don't have full control over the economic sphere, and if we don't have that, we can't tackle issues like unemployment.
At the moment, there are 21 million men and women unemployed across the 28 member states. Compared to the same time last year, unemployment has fallen by 2 million. It's difficult to pinpoint what the underlying causes of unemployment across the European Union are. Some in the Remain camp blame in the recession of 2008.
There was a financial crisis, and then the government said, let's put austerity forward. And then people say, well, that's really affected my job, and they're angry, and they want to blame someone, but they blame the EU, and it's not the EU's fault. It's actually austerity, and above all, it's the capitalist subprime economic crisis that happened. That's what caused it.
Immigration was not discussed by Tortolano on this occasion. However, it has been an overriding theme throughout the build-up to the referendum. According to the Leave campaign manifesto, immigration will continue out of control, putting public services like the NHS under strain. The European Court will continue to be in charge of our borders, immigration and asylum. Eddie Izzard's view on immigration differs somewhat.
When they come over here, most economic migrants, they come over and they work really hard. They work their backsides off. They put in more money than they take out. They put in over 20 billion into our economy. Over 20 billion. That is a massive amount that we have gained from them being here. Does that get mentioned in the media? No, they never see it because it's Project Fear.
The EU referendum is far from being a black and white issue. It is fraught with grey areas. Both Izzard and Tortolano have a message for the electorate.
For centuries, working people fought for the right to elect their politicians and get rid of them, and we achieved that in the UK. At the moment, we cannot get rid of the European commissioners who are in control of the European Union. We can't get any democratic accountability from them or from the European Central Bank. And the European Parliament is no more than a talking shop. So all the essence of meaningful democracy has gone from the EU. And what we need to do is return to democracy. I'm not arguing that the British system's perfect. It's not. But we can elect and get rid of our leaders in the UK. We cannot do that at the EU level.
To anyone undecided, I say forget the number crunching if you see it, because if you look at the very balanced media, it'll put forward one side, it'll put forward another side. And there are clever people on both sides, they put forward their best arguments. So it can be a little difficult unless you're going through this all the time and trying to work out the wood from the trees. I say above all, it's what we do as human beings. We are the United Kingdom because we came together after years of wars and said we need to live together, work together in some shape or form. Exactly how we do it, as we can see from the Scottish referendum, is still being argued about. But that's what we're trying to do in Europe. Live together, work together in some shape or form. If things aren't right, if there's too much bureaucracy, which I think there is, you need to change it from inside, not from outside. You can't pull out and say, change it now, because it won't work. You've got to be inside it doing it. If we come out, we will be, say, like Norway. They put forward Norway. The Prime Minister of Norway says, no, stay in, because Norway, they get emailed all the regulations and they just have to obey every single one and they can't do anything. And they have free movement of people. So they have the same problem. You will move out to a position where you still have people coming in from the EU because you want to trade with the EU.
Both the Remain and Leave camps will continue to win over voters in the lead up to only the third ever referendum the British public has ever had to vote in. This is Stephanie Bosset for That's Solent.